Okay, so someone asked me my first WWE event. Man, this is going to be a weird one. So I was 17 at the time. When 17 or 18 at the time. Because I remember I was still working fast food at the time. I just started going to college. I graduated when I was 17. And I got 4 tickets. This was back when you actually had to physically go to a location. I actually had to go to a Ticketmaster and wait in line. Because your options were to either physically go to the box office, which would have been the Rosemont Horizon at the time, go to a Ticketmaster location, or call the actual box office. The problem with when you had to do the actual calling is they had limited staffing, so you actually were almost better off to physically be in the location. So I want to say I was in a Sears, I want to say in Joliet, which is one of the locations that actually had Ticketmaster. So I drove a half an hour to get tickets to a show. Got 4 of them. Bought a DX shirt. This is an old school WWF DX shirt. I actually still have it. It's one of the few wrestlers I actually still maintained. And from that time, I did not miss a WWE show in Illinois. I said in Illinois. So I actually went to the first SmackDown in Peoria. One of the first Raws that was in Peoria. I've traveled to Decatur, Illinois, Bloomington, Illinois, Champaign, Illinois, Rockford, Moline. I've been in Chicago multiple times. For the better part of a decade, I did not miss a show. So I actually drove with my buddy Ed. We drove from Bloomington, Normal, where we were at college at, to a place like Moline, or to Rockford. I get to go with some friends, and we would always throw on costumes and go to every event we could that was near Halloween in Illinois. So when it was the Spirit Squad, when it's Kane and Hurricane and all them one year. I went as the Hurricane. We actually met the Hurricane later at a Hooters. This, of course, is back in the time when your cell phone picture looked kind of like, if you do an image search now, it's the picture you show before you click on it. So I got a Hooters thing with a bunch of like wrestlers' autographs on it. Went to a lot of pay-per-views. Actually, my last pay-per-view would have been the No Mercy, where Triple H fought 3 times. That was my last pay-per-view. I had the opportunity to go to Money in the Bank with CM Punk one. I ended up not going. Predominantly because it's, from where I live to get there, no traffic, hour. With traffic, hour and a half, 2 hours. The drive back, because leaving Allstate, if you've ever gone to Allstate Arena, you kind of know, if you can take the side streets and get back on to 90 and make your way back to 294, or just make your way to 294, you're fine. I'm trying to head south. If you can't, and you're trying to go the way you came in, you can sit in the parking lot for 2 hours. Yeah, for WrestleMania, that was there. A buddy of me, we were staying at the Hyatt, which is near Central Dallas Stadium Convention Center. So not a far walk. We decided to drive instead. About 3 hours we got to our hotel. Bear in mind, we could have parked our car and just walked and been back faster. Also around the time, I was really heavily into Ring of Honor. Because people have asked if I see CM Punk's rise during Ring of Honor and I do Mid-South. No. My first actual Ring of Honor was the last time Joe wrestled because he signed an exclusive contract for TNA. Now, you might see it seems kind of weird, but during my heyday of wrestling, which has been late 80s, all of the 90s and early 2000s, there wasn't that much in the way of an internet. My buddy Ed, his dad was actually a tape trader. So he would get with people and go through, essentially email correspond people at other locations. They would actually mail tapes back and forth to find out stuff about wrestlers. The time of the hotlines, yep. If you found out what happened in a pay-per-view, you bought a magazine later. And if you were lucky, there was a VHS you could rent somewhere and you could watch it. Like 6 months after it happened. So when I first started watching, a lot of it was, Saturday Morning Superstars, Wrestling Challenge, and I actually, for a very long time, I had watch a full several years worth of primetime wrestling. And what I would do is, because I only had one VHS, but we had a beta, so I would take matches that I liked, transfer them from VHS to beta, beta to VHS, because that was how I had to do those sorts of things. And if I ever got bored, I'd watch old wrestling matches. Now, they mentioned the CM Punk thing because, you know, I work with a guy now who's actually friends with, like, his brother, which is weird. So most of my CM Punk, actually my first time seeing CM Punk was the NWA TNA pay-per-view events. I knew somebody who, of course, this is during a time when it was very easy to do illegal cable. Now you just illegally stream them. And he would tape them. So I would get to watch essentially the tapes, you know, about a week later of something that he actually was doing. And I was like, all right, that's fine. You know, we didn't get the absolute greatest of quality of these things. Because, you know, he was doing something that's like, oh, hey, you know, you gotta watch this. I thought it was pretty cool. Now, of course, the really awesome time was when you had WCW, WWF, and ECW. ECW normally had cheaper pay-per-views, but they put on phenomenal events. They realized it was all about going inside the ring. You could get away with not having as much pomp and circumstance because it was about the in-ring product. And those were awesome times. We actually would watch, pretty much get together 3 Sundays out of the month to watch pay-per-views. And if you were one of the cool kids, you had 2 TVs in a room. Because you always watched the first hour of Nitro, and then either you had a TV where you had the previous channel where you go back and forth between one and the other and try to hop between commercials to watch both shows, or if you had 2 TVs, man, you just watch one and watch the other. Some people actually did the live recording, where you'd have a tape running the whole time recording, so that you could pause. You know, you'd have one room recording. Essentially, you have 2 rooms recording simultaneously. And what you could do is, as you were recording, when you hit into a commercial break, you let that one still record, but then you'd go back and rewind and watch some of the other ones. So you're watching the other show during the commercial breaks. Because, you know, picture-in-picture was still not very prevalent. One of my first dual tuner picture-in-picture, oh yeah, you'd watch wrestling on both sides. Commercial, flip, 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 flip. And it was also great when they both went live, the announcers would talk about what was going on in the other show. So if you're lucky, WCW would tell you what's going on with the WWE after the time. And that's pretty sweet. Now, of course, with the loss of WCW, and after my first Ring of Honor show, I got hooked. I don't know how many times with that Chicago Fieldhouse. Went with a buddy of mine one time, and it was a blizzard when we came back out. So the grass was crunchy. I've got quite a few driving back in a blizzard stories. One of the January events for Rosemont, I was allowed to work early because of the ice. I cut through about an 1/8 inch sheet of ice on my car. Got with my buddy Ed. We drove his soft top convertible to Rosemont for a house show. House show during a blizzard. House show during a blizzard. Took us 3 hours to get there because how bad the roads were. While stuck in the parking lot, he's wanting me to take the scrape brush and hit the inside of the plastic back window to get the snow off. Put a hole through it. Bear in mind, we haven't even left the parking lot yet. It's about 5 hours to get home. I sleep in his apartment. Take a shower, put on the same clothes I had on the day before to go to work, and go back to work. Because there was no way I was making it home. And where he lived was like 10 minutes away from my work, and I lived a half an hour away from my work, which would have been about an hour and a half to get there. For a while, when he lived in Homewood, he would come to my house, and we would watch. These are the Raw or SmackDown. And I would drive to his house. I would drive to Homewood, and we would watch wrestling. Currently, we get together just for Raws, because, you know, we're both married, both have kids. So back to the Ring of Honor time. A lot of great shows there. During the blizzard, they actually did unscripted, so people threw on random matches. It was great. It's supposed to be a trios tournament, I think, but it got canceled. But through watching Ring of Honor, I fell absolutely in love with Shimmer. Oh, love Shimmer. My first Shimmer event was headlined with Kong versus Mischief. And then the main event was Chili Melissa Sarah Del Rey. I didn't know they did double tapings. So I actually left before the next taping because it's like a 7-hour day. So I got into Shimmer, and I got to miss the Beth Phoenix Nanny Neidhart time. And I went pretty aggressively. It would be double shot weekends, which means they do 4 tapings. 4 tapings. Get a hotel room, be out there for both days, essentially. Then, with the marriage and the kid, it became hard to do those sort of things. The E, I'm cool with not going to a local E event. Even though I did fly out for Columbus the day before Money in the Bank in Columbus to catch NXT live. So now I don't have the money to go to the shows. It's just with the brand split, I can basically go into a house show because I can be guaranteed for Wyatt. That's it. I want to be in the audience when the lights go out, broken out in love hits from Mark Hoser and the Grells, and I get to put my cell phone up in the air. I want to be part of that movement, of that moment. Going to NXT events, this is right here, baller. Going to an event that was main evented by Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and Finn Balor, and the WWE related event was amazing. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. But back to the Shimmer. I loved Shimmer. So good. So good. Of course, I got out of Shimmer about 1 tape before Sweet Saraya, Brittany Knight, and Rebecca Notch were on there. So I actually got to miss the time of Becky Lynch and Paige. So I was too late for the Beth Phoenix Natalya time, and I left too early for the Natalya Becky Lynch, for the Paige Becky Lynch time. Did get to see a young Tenille. We know her now as Emma. Got to watch Jessie McKay. So I got to watch a lot of the people who are on NXT now, which is actually really cool. One of the weird things was, and also we mentioned indie events, you used to go to a lot of PCW, which is when Chicago's, they do lots of like Chicago Ridge area places like that. That's where I got to meet Matt Hardy during the time when he was let go from the E, as well as Bret Hart, which is the same year he got into the Hall of Fame. Ric Flair, woo! Lots of really good wrestling there. The unique thing is, indie wrestling events can be pretty good. I'm going to work with DDP on August 13th, 2016, which will be when WrestleFest is. Haven't gone to an indie event in quite some time. It's just, they're hard to do now. So maybe I'll go, maybe I won't go. My wife did mention she'd like to go see an NXT event with me. I did get a ticket to go see the one that's in Chicago recently, even though I bought the ticket when the ones for the day show went on sale, but I got a ticket, an actual seat for the 7 o'clock show when the tickets for like the noon show were being sold. So I got to stay in the GA. So I didn't see the rise of CM Punk live. I got to see it, of course, through DVDs. I did get to see Samoa Joe's last, at the time, Ring of Honor match before he joined TNA. I was there for when Austin Aries left TNA and then signed with Ring of Honor. I was there for Colt Cabana's last match before he left to do virtually nothing in the E. I remember being in the crowd, people going, man, that Claudio Castagnoli, he is built for the E. And now there he is. And that's the cool thing. When you go to indie shows, you get and I got to watch a really good 75-minute match between the American Dragon and Kenta, which was cool. But I will say, those events were physically and emotionally draining. Ring of Honor knew specifically what to do to elicit a great response from that crowd. They knew how to draw you in and get you so invested in the characters because it was very nuanced, but they knew you were smart. They knew you'd pick up on it. That's what made it work. But when you were done, you sit on a comfortable chair for 3 hours, sometimes almost 4, or you do a GA and then you're stuck in a bleacher, elbow to elbow with wrestling fans. They might have showered that week. It's hard to tell sometimes. And it was a physically drained event because you're driving an hour and a half to get there. You need to get there an hour, 2 hours before so you can get a good spot. And then it's a 3 to 4 hour show, so you're already investment time about 6.5 to 7 hours. And then you drive back. So it ends up being, even though it's a 3.5 hour show, it's like a 10-hour investment. And that's just too much to ask right now. Shimmer, I keep on kicking myself going, man, I love back to a Shimmer event. But that, Berwyn, from where I'm at, it's still hour and a half drive, traffic depending. And then it's a 7-hour event. It's just still show up an hour beforehand. And then do hour and a half back. It's a 10-hour thing. It's a huge investment of time. If you can do it, awesome, man, more power to you. If you can't, you're someone like me, you either regret it or you'll go, I just can't do it now. I'm an old man. I don't know I can make it in ECW. Oh, I'm an old man. That's how everyone does their Terry Funk impersonations. Oh, I'm an old man. I don't have what it takes to be in the ECW. Oh, I'm Terry Funk. Oh, I'm so funkin' old. Oh. That, of course, was 20 years ago. Jokes of Terry Funk.